April 23rd is the date that the prosecutors allege Celeste Rivas Hernandez arrived the evening of April 23rd at David's rented Hollywood Hills home and was last heard from on or about this date. He's alleging that this was a text message that was sent out the day after she was alleged to be unalived. All right. Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Nique, and you're tuned in to Nique at Night. This video is going to be a quick and to the point timeline of what the prosecution alleges surrounding Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death. Steve Fiser is a private investigator, and he put together David's movements before, during, and after she was alleged to lose her life. Now, I did a full-length video where we go over so much information that has been surfacing in the last couple of days, but in this particular video I just want to focus on the timeline that Steve Fiser put together and maybe a couple of other things. If you guys want to see the full breakdown that I did on the most recent things discovered in this case, definitely go to my live tab to see my full length video. But let's get into what he is saying was the day that she passed and what it is alleged that David's movements was during that time. And there are some disturbing details that have been unfolding over the last couple of days. It turns out that she had been deceased for 4 months prior to her being discovered. There has been so much that has come out in these most recent medical examiner reports. There has been a lot that's come out from the prosecution team, the detectives, and so much more.
What about, I read there was something about a wiretap and search warrants?
Exactly. They said that there was a significant amount of evidence collected in a wiretap. There was also 3 different investigative grand juries, one convened in November, one in December, and one in February. The prosecution really trying to convey to the judge how much evidence they have and the difficulty of it to be able to be transferred to the defense that quickly. They did say, however, that they plan on handing the defense tomorrow arrest records, photographic evidence, chemical evidence reports, and DNA evidence reports.
Now, Stephen Fiser is one of the people who was hired as an independent private investigator. He was hired by the homeowner that David was renting the home. From the very onset of this investigation, he had been uncovering things, finding out things, giving statements, kind of not giving too much, but giving enough to know that this was a very, 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 very crazy unaliving. Well, he showed text messages on his social media where he's alleging that this was a text message that was sent out the day after that she was alleged to be unalived. So it says, on April 24th, 2025, just hours after prosecutors alleged that David Anthony Burke killed Celeste Rivas Hernandez, his management held a Withered album release party in Los Angeles, and that started at 8 p.m. David then likely took a red-eye flight to New York afterwards. It says all of his managers were likely in Los Angeles for the party. The house that Celeste was lured to, according to prosecutors, was leased by his management company. So the question is, who knew what and when did they know it? April 23rd and April 24th were not quiet, uneventful days or nights. David had just performed at Coachella. His album was being released and a party was being held in his honor. There were people around him and he was the center of attention. It is difficult to believe he had much time completely unknown. Who knew what and when? Because given the evidence in all of the witness accounts, he had eyes on him actively nonstop around these times. He had just done Coachella. He had an album release that he did. He had flew out soon after. So if she passed away, this would bring me to believe that there was other people involved in either helping her unaliving and helping conceal things as well. So will there be other charges brought forth? This is very interesting, but this kind of tells you why it may have been a little tricky with the grand jury. It says, if you attended the party and this brings back any memory of David or others in his immediate circle acting unusually, if you were at the rental house, if you saw Celeste around April 23rd or April 24th, please contact LAPD Robbery Homicide Division. If you're willing to speak with me, I will keep your information confidential, except as required for law enforcement. This is about justice for a 14-year-old. Attached is a message referencing the party held just hours after Celeste was killed. Thank you to those who are coming forward now that David is in custody. So as you can see, this was sent out April 24th, 2025. And this was a blast stating that they were going to be having an album release party. And it says, the host of Withered album release party sent a text blast. David's Withered album release party kicks off in 90 minutes. When you arrive at the 100 Thieves compound, please enter through the parking lot to the left of the building ahead and head to the back, blah, 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 blah. So as you can see, there are several layers. So he said, this is a timeline I've put together covering the period just before it is alleged that David killed Celeste. It says, through the time shortly after it is alleged that he dismembered her body. The timeline is based on recovered and deleted social media posts as well as confirmed public media appearances. It will continue to be updated as additional data is compiled. It can be viewed at the link below, and I have also attached several screenshots from the timeline. The sequence appears to show a surge of activity immediately after the alleged murder, followed by a period of relative silence in the days leading up to the alleged dismemberment. On the date it is alleged the dismemberment occurred, they think it happened on May 5th, 2025, and it says a social media post places him in downtown LA around 11 p.m. One of the most significant unanswered questions is, where was Celeste's body between April 23rd and May 5th? The timeline shows that he traveled to New York on April 24th. Within a single day, he would have had to place her body somewhere. He later returned nearly 2 weeks later on May 5th. On May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, he posted from downtown Los Angeles. A chow mein truck visible in the background can be independently confirmed to have been operating in that area on the date. So let's go to his link where he puts together this timeline of events. Let me make this smaller because he basically compiled different things that he believes happened before and after. So he says David's Coachella Weekend 2 set ended the prior day in India, California. It says on April 22nd, he had a brand lab announcement that he was going to have this pop-up event in NYC. April 23rd is the date that the prosecutors allege Celeste Rivas Hernandez arrived the evening of April 23rd at David's rented Hollywood Hills home and was last heard from on or about this date. He had the Withered World Tour tickets pre-sale happen on this day. And it says on TikTok, he posted, your prayers have been answered. It's finally here, where he was promoting his album release. Now, the very next day, he says that the Withered World Tour tickets officially went on sale. And on Instagram around 11:38 Pacific time, he basically promoted a reel that said, my Withered World Tour is now officially on sale. On Twitch on April 24th, he did a stream on Twitch where he captioned it, put the album in the bag, bruh. And it says he allegedly seems to be streaming from what appeared to be the interior of the home that he was renting ahead of the album release. So they have a screenshot from his Twitch stream. So he allegedly unalived her on the 23rd. They're saying that today, like I said, was the anniversary of that. And then he continued on with his life per usual. He went and still promoted his album, went live on Twitch, and went through business per usual. So this is where it shows the stream and then how he had it titled, "Put the Album in the Bag, Bruh." So also on April 24th, there is this text where they sent out this text blast to people about his album release party. And then it says he traveled from LA to New York overnight on a red eye for this pop-up event. On April 25th of 2025, his Withered Dark Room album was released, and it debuted at number 13 on the Billboard 200. He had a live band lab pop-up day one in Union Square, and this was an in-person fan meet and greet. And it says that there was an Afterlife song performed live for the first time at Band Lab pop-up. And it says that he used, I guess, an acoustic set. David visibly breaks down crying mid-song. So this is a screenshot from the video of him performing the song where he breaks down crying. Let me see if I can pull up this video. Let's see. Let's see if we can find this video. 1 second, y'all. Let's do our Googles. Let's see if we can find that and see him break down the day after. Hold on 1 second. I'm going live. I'm going through this series of things with y'all. Okay. All right, found it. All right. So let's bring this up. All right, so it says, creepy. After what we know now, David cries performing Afterlife 2 days after Celeste Rivas' death. So let's hit play. All right, we gotta pause it. Sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, I gotta keep pausing it, y'all. Copyright reasons. But I'm watching this live with y'all to see when he breaks down and all of those things. Sorry, I know it's annoying. From bleeding, but I buy what I can as I try. All right, pause it right there. Let me pause that and let me look up what are the lyrics to his Afterlife song. Afterlife lyrics. All right, so let me pull up the lyrics for the song so we can see what he's feeling and what he's saying, because I can't really tell. But let's pull it up. All right, so this is Afterlife. Let me bring it over for y'all. Something's missing from inside of me. Someone stole what wasn't mine. The devil told me you were good for me. My mother told me he would lie. What doesn't kill you waits for later. What tries to keep you alive fails. I thought a girl would make me happy. Real love is not for sale. So I'll buy what I can as I try to pretend something else is making me cry. When you cross the line, I'm still by your side. I crossed it with you. And when I die, you're holding the knife. I'll love you from the afterlife. From the afterlife, from the afterlife. I'll love you from the afterlife, from the afterlife. What good is walking on water with a sinking feeling? What good is a kiss without meaning? It won't stop me from bleeding, but I'll buy what I can as I try to pretend something else is making me cry. When you cross the line, I'm still by your side. I crossed it with you. And when I die, you're holding the knife. I'll love you from the afterlife. From the afterlife, from the afterlife. I'll love you from the afterlife. So that is the song that he is performing here. Those are the lyrics. All right. Let me zoom in for y'all to see that he's crying. Let me make it big so that y'all can see that when he's crying. All right. So you can see he puts his head down and he is crying. All right. So let's go back to Steve's timeline that he has available on his website. All right. So it says on TikTok, he tweeted or he posted, it says, "Mine is friend again. Say it back. A ghost, to be honest. David Music." On April 26th, he had a live appearance at Band Lab, and it was pop-up day 2 for this creator workshop and Q&A. It says, Wither Instagram reel of the previous evening's Afterlife debut surfaces and goes viral. This is the post most online aggregators tag with the April 26th date, but the underlying performance occurred April 25th, the day prior. So it says on April 27th, he traveled from New York to Houston, which he had an evening hometown show. He had a live appearance for a headline album release show. And it says this was held at White Oak Music Hall in Houston, Texas. And it says that it says concurrent NYC Pop-Up Day 3 hosts live stream watch party of the Houston show. And it says he had two posts that he posted on his TikTok account. On April 28th, it says he traveled from Houston to New York for the next day for a Brooklyn show. And he didn't post anything on April 28th. It says on April 29th, he had a live appearance at the Brooklyn Steel Show. And at that show, his family was on stage. It says the show is not on the published Withered tour calendar. Appears to be a release the week one off. And it says he had a post on TikTok from his own account. And it says for own account TikTok post on April 30th. Now from May 1st to May 4th, he has nothing on social media, no posts, no nothing. So they're alleging that after he did these pop-ups, these appearances, he went offline for these days And then the day that the prosecutors allege that her body was dismembered, they're alleging that it happened on Cinco de Mayo. All right. So it says the prosecutors allege Celeste's body was mutilated on or about this date, Cinco de Mayo, in LA. And on May 5th, there was a story post that he posted on May 5th. And you can see he took a photo of it says the Instagram story posted at 11 p.m. May 5th, and it shows downtown LA. All right. So it says that the photo is of two skateboards, Kirby and Hello Kitty decks at a night market, and it's geolocated to downtown Los Angeles. The food truck reading Bandit, visible in the frame, posted the same day. Prosecutors have alleged that her body was mutilated. So this food truck that says Bandit in the background, I guess on this same date, they were in fact in this area. So they're saying, hey, he was here. He was in downtown LA, allegedly around this time where she allegedly was to be cut up. All right. So then it says on May 6th, there's no public appearance or any record of anything posted on social media. On May 7th, he posted something on his TikTok. On May 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, there is no post that he can find. And then on May 12th, it says that there was 2 posts on TikTok. On May 13th, there was, it says Tape Notes podcast episode 155 with David was published, but the recording date is unknown. And it says on TikTok, he posted, sorry, Mom, for posting your fall, but this is too funny. I love you. So this was, I guess, allegedly a video of his mother. On May 14th, there was no post that they could find. May 15th, it says he traveled from the U.S. to Seoul, Korea. And he was required to be in the country by May 21st. So he was in Korea from basically the 15th to the past the 21st. So on the 21st, he had a live appearance in Seoul, Korea, where he was performing his song. And on Instagram, he posted up a post that was a reel of him performing in Seoul, Korea. May 22nd, there was a countdown. It says M countdown to M Net Seoul. And then he performs Is This Really Love? And then on TikTok, he posted I Met Boy Next Door and some other people, some K-pop people. This is what he posted. So this is the timeline that the investigator has developed so far. He has a phone number on the website for anybody who has, I guess, any tips or any more information. That is this number here. I guess this is his tip line. And he has, you know, different blogs and everything. So this investigator has been on it, okay? He has been on it. He had basically also found things at the resident that the other officers did not find. And he has been keeping people up to date on the goings-ons. It says, let's see. So it says, these are the charging documents. Let's read the charging documents. All right, let me pull up the charging documents for you guys. This Steve is going to be your go-to source of information in this case, right? So, like I said, he has been posting timelines. He's posting the documents. He's posting things that you can pretty much go down the rabbit hole and find. And he is on Twitter, so definitely go follow him because he is going to be your day-to-day source for the people who want to keep up with this case and be in the know and know firsthand the information. His Twitter is SF_investigates. A very, very key person to follow in the in the murder of Celeste. All right. So this is the charging documents right here. Let me save this image so that I can make it bigger. All right. So on these documents, it says this is the Superior Court of the State of California for Los Angeles, the people of the state of California versus David Anthony Burke. And let's read what the contents say. It says, count 1. On or about April 23rd, 2025, in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187, a felony was committed by David Anthony Burke, who did unlawfully and with malice aforethought murder Celeste Rivas, a human being. Notice the above offense is a serious felony within the meaning of Penal Code 1192.7 and a violent felony within the meaning of Penal Code Section 667.5. Upon a felony conviction for the above offense, prison custody time is to be served in the state prison based upon the above felony offense being a serious felony defined in Penal Code blah, 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 and or violent felony defined in Penal Code blah, blah, blah. And they want to require that he registered as an SO. All right. It is further alleged that the murder of Celeste was intentional and was carried out by the defendant, David Burke, for financial gain. Hold on. Can you guys see the whole thing? Let me bring it up. All right. So it says, it is further alleged that the murder of Celeste Rivas was intentional and was carried out by the defendant, David Anthony Burke, for financial gain within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A1. It is further alleged that pursuant to Penal Code Section PC 190.2, that Celeste was a witness to a crime and was intentionally killed because of that fact. It is further alleged that the murder of Celeste was committed by David Anthony Burke and that the defendant intentionally killed the victim by means of lying in wait within the meaning of Penal Code 190.2, A, Section 15. Let's go to the next one. All right. Let me download this so that I can see it. Let me bring it down some. All right, so it says, it is further alleged that in the commission and attempted commission of the above offense, the said defendant, David Anthony Burke, personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon or weapons to, with sharp instruments said use not being an element of the above offense within the meaning of Penal Code Section blah, 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 and causing the above offense to be a serious felony within the meaning of this penal code. All right, so count 2 that he's being charged, it says, on or between September 7th, 2023 and September 7th, 2024, in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of continuous SA happened, which is a felony that was committed by David Anthony Burke, who did unlawfully engage in 3 or more acts of substantial S conduct as defined in Penal Code Section blah, 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 and 3 or more lewd and lascivious acts as defined in Penal Code Section 288 with Celeste, a child under the age of 14 years, while the defendant resided with and had recurring access to her. It says, notice, the above offense is a serious felony within the meaning of Penal Code 1192.7 Section C and a violent felony within the meaning of Penal Code Section 667.5, Section C. All right. Let me bring this up some so that y'all can see what I see. It says, okay. So it says, notice, conviction of this offense will require you to register as a SA of this crime. Conviction of this offense will require the court order for you to submit to a blood test for evidence of antibodies to probable causative agent of acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS. And it says, they got to check if he got AIDS. All right. Notice, being charged with this criminal offense can result in mandatory pre-conviction HIV/AIDS testing and disclosure of results to a victim. Do they think he gave her that? Or is this standard? I'm not sure that I've seen that before. Is that standard on all child cases? I'm not sure that I've seen that before. Y'all let me know. I don't want to get to Googling certain stuff, but is somebody who knows, let me know. Somebody said that's standard. Okay, you guys are saying, some people are saying that it's not standard, and some people are saying that it is standard. Okay, I've never heard it before, but I guess maybe it's standard. All right. So, upon a felony conviction for the above offense, prison custody time is to be served in the state prison based upon the above felony offense being a serious felony defined in Penal Code Section 1192. All right. So, let's go to the next one, which is count 3. All right, so this is count 3. It says, on or about May 5th, 2025, in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of unlawful mutilation of human remains in violation of Health and Safety Code Section 7052, a felony was committed by David Anthony Burke, who did willfully and unlawfully mutilate remains known to be human, specifically the remains of Celeste. It says, notice, upon a felony conviction for the above offense, prison custody time is to be served in state prison. So these are the charging documents of his arrest. And they're stating that he would have to register as an S offender. They're stating that he would also be possibly up against the death penalty. Now, if you guys know anything about California, California is one of the states that allows the death penalty, but right now there is a hold or a pause. So there is the possibility that if they unpause the death penalty, then he could be put to death. But right now, they have paused all of that. I forget the name of it. Let me look up the exact name. It's something with the M. What is it called in California where they pause the death penalty? It's called something with the M. A moratorium. All right. So it says the pause of the death penalty in California is called a moratorium. It was ordered by Gavin Newsom in March of 2019. This is an executive action that halted all executions for now. All right. So it says that the execution chamber at San Quentin State Prison and withdrew the state's lethal injection protocols while leaving convictions and sentences in place. So it prohibits the state from carrying out executions while the order is active. So like I said, they're saying that he can be facing the death penalty, but right now there's a pause. Now, if there is a new governor that later replaces Newsom and they overturn this moratorium, then they're saying, listen, you could be put to death, but we're still putting it on the table. And if that's your fate later, that's your fate later. But as it stands right now, he can't actually be put to death for real, for real. But it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Let me see if there is anything else I wanted to go over. All right, guys, that's the end of this video. If you guys want to hear more of my deep dive into what else was uncovered and what the prosecution is saying, like I said in the beginning, go to my live video tab and watch the full length live where we go a lot deeper into this case.